Hello, welcome. Always a pleasure to having everybody here. Always fun. I am so glad everybody got to come in and join and is here today. It's a wonderful thing, especially considering in this lovely political environment we're in. And honestly, that's what's got me on here today, because a lot of us are struggling. And I know SNAP is a big thing on everybody's mind, and it's hard to wrap your mind around all this. But 49 million Americans, there's 349 million, almost 400 million people in the United States. In the United States. And about 49 million of them are food insecure enough to get food stamps. Food stamps. I know, so surprising. That doesn't mean that all those people that are poor get them. Just that the really, really poor ones, the one that sits on the poverty line, those get them. And that's already 49 million people. Now you can look up the numbers. Poverty is rather on the low side, but that's what poverty means. You ain't got no money. Go figure. It's expensive to be a poor person. That means that in some places, a family of four, it's $36,000 that you make a year. And in other places, a family of four, anything above $18,000 is considered living good. Now, I do understand that, you could live in a cheaper place, you can buy a cheaper house, you could do this and that. But really, let's examine some of those really fun statements that people like to say. You could just get a better job. Well, here's the thing. You enjoy Starbucks. You enjoy going to the grocery. You also enjoy having your streets swept, bathrooms cleaned at work, in the grocery, at the fast food restaurant that you just had to stop and get a burger from. Well, also the clean bathrooms at Target when you walk in and go grocery shopping or clothes shopping. I'm sorry, but somebody does that. And they don't do it for free. And the reality is, most of those jobs I just mentioned aren't paid a living wage. In fact, they're usually paid a minimum wage or $1 or $2 above minimum wage. And that's the trick right there. Living wage versus a minimum wage. A living wage is what we need to afford the basics. The little health insurance that the government doesn't want to pay for. The food you don't want the government to pay for. The rent you don't want the government to pay for. Any other number of things that are needed to make the world go around. That includes tampons for women. Unless you like free bleeding. That's a different story. Not touching that one. I'm just saying. You don't like funky people? Well, body wash ain't bought with food stamps. Neither is deodorant or clothing. It's really easy to be like, but these, that person that got $1,000 and they're living in a 3-bedroom, fully furnished, reverse. That is a failure of protocol and procedures and all kinds of things that people like Democrats have put in place so that it was easy for the people that needed it to have it, but that we could also check and ensure that only the needy could get it and not somebody that had 3 houses, 5 cars, already had their insurance paid if they just pay it. No! It's not free. And I guarantee you, most of us want to just pay it our damn selves anyway. I'd love to just pay it all. But reality won't let me just pay it all. I have a whole adult that I have to pay for. I have children I have to pay for. I have animals I have to pay for. Oh my God, why you got animals? You shouldn't have had an animal if you couldn't afford it. Why'd you have children? You shouldn't have had children if you couldn't afford it. So let's address those issues. In my life, personally, I live in New York City. I live on the first floor, but even if I didn't live on the first floor, we have fucking New York City rats and mice. Even those nice buildings you see, those super tall ones, the Marriott, the Hilton, everybody got a mouse and rat problem. That is New York City. How you handle it is what makes you, is it a known problem? Or is it, yeah, everybody got it. I got cats. I don't have to put chemicals around. I don't have to deal with any of that. They take care of the issue. I haven't had rats in my house for years. But I have heard there was rats in people's houses coming out the ceiling because my fucking building's so shitty sometimes. Okay? Get a cat. I highly recommend it. I love it. I ain't having no rats come out my ceiling, out no radiators, none of that. Dealt with that before. Cat. A cat. A cat. Cat. They're great. And a mouser. Not all cats are mousers, apparently. Yeah, go figure. Most are, not all. But that's why I have animals, okay? Because the pest problem is so great that it outweighs the issues and the money that I'd have to pop out for a cat, okay? Just roll that over in your head, okay? Now, I do have a dog. I didn't actually ask for a dog. I'm a dog trainer, yes. And I enjoy dogs. I love dogs. But I didn't want a dog because dogs require to be walked twice a day. Rain, shine, hurricane. They need to go out or they're going to piss and shit in your house. They need to be played with or they will bite you. They will start to chew on you and your things. They'll tear up your house. They're like an overstimulated toddler. And if you don't do something about it, guess what happens? Yeah. So as a good person, and understanding that that dog had not done anything that truly deserved to be punished because the humans in its life were unable, unwilling, or whatever to do the things properly, so I took over the dog. I raised the dog, I trained the dog, and the dog is now 13 years old. He's ornery, he's opinionated, and I guarantee you, he's at my feet right now. You'd never know it. Because I took the time and the effort, and yes, I'm continuing to take the time and the effort, and that requires money. And just because I'm on, say, Section 8 or, I'm not on food stamps, but if I was on food stamps, like, oh my God, you can't have a dog, because, what? Think about what you're really saying when you are thinking that or saying that out loud. And next, let's address the kids part, because I've heard it enough times in my life. Well, you shouldn't have had kids if you couldn't afford it. You know, condoms aren't 100%. In fact, the only form of 100% is abstinence. And I was an adult when I was having fun, adult fun, appropriately. Things happen, mistakes happen, holes, rips, tears, I don't know. But to then say, you know, I deserve to be punished for the rest of my life because of one mistake. Oh, well, you shouldn't have been having sex then. Has said, what? I was an adult. I was allowed to have sex. I'm allowed to have fun. Just because some religions don't believe in premarital sex doesn't mean everybody. And in fact, legally, it's not illegal. So they turn around and use it as a moralistic argument or any version of ethics or integrity or because essentially you deserve to struggle and be in hardship because you had a kid when you couldn't afford it, and we shouldn't have tried to help to get you in a better and more stable environment. Okay. But what happens when you are pulling yourself up? You are trying to do right. You are trying to, one step at a time, get it into a more stabilized environment. And then the second that you're there, anything that you had built just goes whoop out the window. And I'm not talking about work advantage. I'm talking about the fire I had. You can watch it online, to date on YouTube, in Staten Island. Gone, everything, including my cat, Batman. And I got to take him to the hospital the next day after I found him and I walked him over a mile to that vet. And thank you to the Bay Street veterinarian. They did beautiful, awesome work. Always going to be appreciative. I'm sorry I never was able to get back for Batman. Haven't been to Staten Island really since. Maybe the courthouse, but I haven't been in Staten Island since the fire. All right? From 2016 to 2021 is when I finally moved into this apartment, this rent-stabilized apartment. And you would think, oh, I'm getting on my feet. I went through COVID. I did all kinds of BS. I'm going forward. Except it turns out that my building, the owner is actually a little LLC that was created. And it has another owner. Well, actually, this owner has a lot of property LLCs, little companies, under him. And then he also owns a management company that he uses to manage all these little LLCs that are properties. And to be honest, I guess management is a little of a kind word, because honestly, what my super does, he is managing with absolutely craptacular nothing. Like, yeah, you could give him a little bit of supplies and that man is like Jesus. He makes fish and it just keeps on coming, okay? I don't know how, but unfortunately, his bosses like to give him crap, and there's at a point that I don't care how good of quality of work or you are, crap is still crap. And that's what Pinnacle does. And yeah, I said it, Pinnacle Management. Do not rent from them. They'll take your money, they don't do the maintenance, and they'll take another vacation. Or buy another rent-stabilized units that they can't afford to keep up or maintain or fix or do anything. But they are going to drive a nice brand new 2025 car, have brand new whatever, but they can't afford to do any of the stuff that they agreed to in their job. And that's part of the problem I have with some of the affordable housing and quality housing stuff. Because essentially, that's one of those ways that they squeeze more money out of stuff that was not supposed to be $100 million profiteering making thing. Really think about that. NYCHA should never have been making tons of profits. Never. And yet, when you look around and you actually look at their revenues and their profits, and yeah, they have profits. At some point, they had decided to take out loans, and some of those revenues goes more so towards the loans than they actually go towards what was supposed to be into maintaining their projects. That's where all your profits are supposed to go to. Into plowing it right back into your buildings. Not giving your staff $10 million bonuses, not going to Mar-a-Lago. I don't know if NYCHA actually did that, but there are some companies that did. rented Mar-a-Lago and took them on a little vacation, especially the upper management. Well, all the other people worked, and they took away the PTO and the 401k. So, all of those complex issues, all right, have come together, whether it's sneaking on the job money away from you, sneaking money that was supposed to be taken care of the actual building that your apartment sits in, and then screaming, I'm broke, I can't afford it. Oh my God. Why should I have to pay it? Well, the same problem with the insurances. Why is the insurance so damn high? Literally, we have people all over the place paying for it. For instance, Florida. I know people have been paying for years and years, but however, hurricanes come through and wipe out stuff, and then all of a sudden, when insurance companies are asked to actually pay for the company or the house or the damage, all of a sudden there's all kinds of hoops, and your policy is canceled, or it doesn't cover acts of God or flooding when you're in a flood zone and all kinds of stuff. So they don't have to pay you the money you paid them in case an emergency, they'd help cover it. That's what insurance is. That's what medical insurance is supposed to be. And so people getting pissed off because they're dropping over $100, over $1,000 in insurance and then getting nothing back. Nothing. Craptacular doctors who you have to wait for hours to see, who are rude and may or may not actually have enough knowledge and experience to know what you have. I get it. There's a lot of stuff. But nurses and doctors have been in a deficit even when I was in high school. And COVID and some of these other things did not help that. That deficit is also institutional knowledge, okay? We don't have doctors teaching the doctors. That means that they're not going to learn these like weird little signs that they should have heard about in some weird medical journal or in some weird conversation that doctors and nurses have. Nope. That doctor ain't there no more. Maybe they died. Maybe they got overworked. Maybe they're overworked, underpaid, and shitted on. I don't know. But I can see that the institutional knowledge that should be there, it ain't there. And so when people walk in with what is obviously looking like shingles, it's a bug bite. When people are walking in with what looks like obvious cardiac issues, oh, you're too young for cardiac issues. You must be a drug addict. And instead of recognizing that in the last 20 years, we have increased several of our things like our energy drinks and diet pills and stuff of that nature, where literally you don't have to be a drug addict and you don't have to be a 55 fat guy to have a heart attack anymore. You can literally be 22 and overstressed, overworked, and drank a Monster and haven't been drinking any water, and guess what you're gonna do to yourself? You might cause a heart attack. Especially if you decide to go running in 100-degree weather. Oh, I didn't know that could be a yeah, it's a possibility. Getting old sucks. But before you get old, you got to get the experience. And to get that, you're going to make a lot of mistakes. But some of those mistakes should not cost you your entire life. And that's what's right now with the government. It's pissing people off. And it's making people frustrated. And it's also what making us Americans and us as a people frustrated with our other humans, with our other fellow Americans, with our friends, with our family. Because it feels like a lot of times, it's like, well, you just need to get a better job. Dude, stop drinking Starbucks. Stop drinking coffee. You don't need no ice cream. You don't need fast food. A better job? All of those are jobs. Somebody has to work them. And they all deserve to be able to go home and eat in a nice, clean, dry, warm house. Not, I can't be bothered. I don't believe. Well, if you don't believe in social programs, then believe in a living wage. It's one or the other. People have to be able to work and eat and feed themselves. But what happens when you get disabled? Okay? Things happen. You get old. You date somebody that pile drives you into the concrete. You decide to marry somebody who decides to bang your face in and crack up all your jaw before you leave them. You decide that you're going to date somebody and bring them in, move them in, and all of a sudden they're trying to break your leg because how dare you look at another girl. All of a sudden you're not able to work. All of a sudden you're not able to take care of yourself. Okay? And then that unlivable minimum wage job of freaking $18 an hour, which was $2 over minimum wage, it doesn't cover your sick days that you have to have, or it doesn't carry over into retirement or any other number of things that you need. Okay? And I get it. It sucks that you got old and then literally there was no money for retirement. But again, every fast food restaurant, you walk in, I want you to ask every fast food restaurant if they've got a 401k. What's their retirement like at McDonald's? Come on. Let's really. What is it? It's easy to just, people that, no! Ornery people, yes. They're here. They're still here. Instead, just shove it because they're an inconvenience. Maybe try to utilize some of the knowledge and experience and wisdom that they actually fucking have. Well, some of them. Donald Trump, no. Experience and wisdom has taught me, no. But that's just it. Most old people, most disabled people are not idiots. They're not morons. They're not dead. Okay? They're not brain dead. They're actually got something up there and they're trying to just make their ends meet in their world. Okay? That's it. Nobody, and even if you are stupid and all that, you still don't deserve to not have all that. I'm going to pause it right here for now. I'm going to pause it for here right now. I'm going to come back in a few, do a couple of things. Enjoy your day.